characteristics of living organisms. So the slides. Here we know that living organisms are made up of cells. They require energy to carry out their functions. Then they carry out metabolism. They show internal or external movement. For example, we humans, animals show external motion, right? We move from one place to another place. But plants, they show internal movement. Then they reproduce and show growth and development. They are sensitive to environment. Means they are sensitive to environment. For example, if I feel cold, I will wear more clothes, right? I'm very sensitive. If the temperature decreases, I come to know that the temperature is decreased. If the temperature increases, I come to know that the temperature has been increased. We are very sensitive, right? These are the major characteristics of living organisms. In that, one of the important characteristics is reproduction. So we know that all the living organisms carry out the process that is reproduction. Here, the cat give birth to the kitten, right? Cat give birth to kitten. Then the dog give birth to the young one, that is puppy. Called puppy, right? How many of you have cat or dog as a pet? Yes, most of you. Very good. Then the parrot lays an egg, which later get hatched, right? Yes, observe this. Here the features, physical features of the kitten is similar to that of its mother, right? The cat looks exactly like the kitten, and kitten looks like exactly like that of the cat. The hairs, the color, the eyes, the forelimbs, the hind limbs, everything matches. Right. If you see some kitten in your street or somewhere, you can easily say that this is the young one of the cat. And similarly, if you see the puppies of any breed, it can be shepherd or it can be whatever it may be. All right. You can easily identify that these are the breeds of the dog. And if you see the birds, young of those birds, you can easily identify these are their parents and these are the young ones of such an organism. But and of course human as well. If you see the baby of a man, you can easily identify these are the young ones of human. And if you see the young one of chimpanzee, right, you will call that these are the young ones of a human. No, why? The parents and kids matches exactly the same, right? But now observe, this is what is this? Butterfly. What is this? Caterpillar. Butterfly give birth to caterpillar. Did you know that earlier? How many of you know that butterfly reproduces caterpillar? Oh, two or three of you know. Okay, good. Then how it again becomes a butterfly? Have you ever thought about that? Isn't it amazing? Yes. The butterfly lays an egg and it hatches into a caterpillar. Okay. Then observe this. What is this? Usually you hear these sounds of the frog in which season? Yes, in rainy season we usually hear the sound of the frog during night time especially. Okay, the image of frog looks like this. Is it similar to that adult or parent? No, right? It is completely different. See here, the features, the frog doesn't have tail and this young one has tail. Here there are four limbs and here there are only two hind limbs. Can you see the difference? I think you might have seen these species in water bodies near your home or village something, and you might have called that as a blackfish. It's not a blackfish, but it's a tadpole. How many of you have played with them? Nobody. We used to play with them. We thought it was a fish when we were child, but later on I came to know that these are the fingers of frog. From that time, I stopped playing with them. Then silk moth. Usually you see the silk moth where there is a old kind of type of houses, right? Where there is no proper cleaning, you will see this white moth, and the inverse of white moth is white caterpillar. Here you can observe that all the adults or parents are entirely different from that of this inverse. All of these are completely different. There is no match between the parents and this inverse. And how they again become like this inverse? No, sorry, adult. Yes, there comes the process called metamorphosis. Have you heard earlier metamorphosis? How many of you know what is metamorphosis? Yes, it is a biological process. Yes, as we are dealing it with the biology class, it means it's a biological process. So, okay, next. Yeah, it is seen in insects. These are the process that is usually seen in insects. What is the complete definition of this metamorphosis? In today's class, I will make you to provide a definition on your own on the word that is metamorphosis. First, let us see the etymology of this metamorphosis. Here, it is a combination of two words, that is meta and morphis. Meta and morphis. There are two words, that is meta and morphis. Meta means change. Meta in Latin language, meta means change. Then morphis. Morphos means uh, phase. Okay, form or phase, whatever. Meta means change. Morphos means form. Totally, metamorphosis means change of form, change in form. Okay, this is the etymology of metamorphosis. To understand this metamorphosis, let us consider a life cycle. Okay, through life cycle, we will understand the complete process of metamorphosis. Okay, let us consider the life cycle of what? Frog. Okay, in general, can you tell me what is the life cycle of frog? Does it give birth to young one or it lays an egg? Egg. Have you seen them? No. Then is it a external fertilization or internal fertilization? Internal, no. It's a external fertilization. Let us see. Okay. Here, what happens? The male frog mate with the female frog. Okay. During the mating, what happens? Here, external fertilization occurs. What occurs? Here, external fertilization occurs. First, during the mating period, this female frog lays an egg. First, what happens? This female frog, what does it do? It lays an egg near water bodies, whatever it may be found, small water bodies, whatever. First, what does it do? It lays an egg. Then the frog releases sperm over the egg. Okay, here the combination of egg and the sperm is taking place in the external environment than that of the female body. Here, the sperm is not combining with the egg inside the female frog, but in a outer environment, that is outside the body of the female frog. Once the at first the female frog lays an egg. After that, this male frog, what does it do? It produces a sperm and releases over the eggs. This sperm and egg undergo fertilization to produce zygote. Okay, the sperm and egg combines together to form a zygote through a process called fertilization. Then this zygote develop into a tadpole. But these are different from that of the previous image I have shown, right? Yes, this is the first stage of tadpole. This is the first stage of tadpole. I think these are the fishes you have seen. This is not a fish, this is a tadpole. These tadpoles have three phases. How many phases are there? There are three phases. That is, first one is tadpole phase 1, then tadpole phase 2, then tadpole phase 3, that is froglet phase. We call it as froglet phase because it is almost similar to that the frog. In first phase, you can notice that it just has a tail like a fish. There is no limbs in it. But when it reaches the phase 2, you can observe that there are two hind limbs and a long tail. There are two hind limbs and a long tail. This is the phase 2. Then in the froglet phase, you can see that there are four limbs as well as hind limbs. And there is a long tail as well. These are the three phases of tadpole. Okay. And these three phases is called as larval stage. Okay, when the frog is going through the phase 1 of tadpole, phase 2 of tadpole, and froglet phase, all three phases are called as what? Larval stage of the frog. After laying an egg, after fertilization, it forms the tadpole. That stage is called as larval stage. Then what is larva? What is larva? Have you heard this word larva earlier? Yes, the larva of honeybee. Then in ants, yes, you might have heard that these are the larvae of honeybee, etc. Right? What does it mean? Here, larvae are the active and immature form of an organism. Here, these larvae in any stages in any organisms that undergo metamorphosis, if the stage is active, means they show motion, they show movement, they feed on themselves, they move from one place to another place, and they live as an active individual or active organism, but they are not mature enough to reproduce. Okay, here they are not mature enough to reproduce, but they are active. They feed, they live, they survive, but they can't reproduce. This stage of larva is this stage of an organism in metamorphosis is called as larval stage. Here, tadpole phase 1, tadpole phase 2, and froglet phase, all the three phases of frog is called as frog larva. If you see this, this is also a frog larva, this is also a frog larva, and this is also a frog larva. These tadpoles are active and immature. Active and immature means they show motion, they show movement, they feed, they do all the work except they can't reproduce, and they are not fully developed, and growth and development is also restricted. Then these larvae get converted into, get developed into, get modified into young adult male and female. Okay, these larvae get modified into adult male and female frog. Okay, again the life cycle. Again, the male frog mate with female frog, they produce an egg, they undergo reproduction, fertilization, then the tadpole is produced. This tadpole again develop into a froglet phase and then adult one. Here again I am consolidated this life cycle like this. Yes, here male frog, female frog. During mating, male releases sperm, female releases egg. Together, fertilization occurs, zygote is formed, and this zygote develop into a tadpole. At first, it undergo phase one, that it has only one tail. Then it undergo phase two, in which we can see the hind limbs and large tail. Then the froglet phase, where we can see all the three limbs, that is two hind and four limbs, along with a long tail. Then after this, again it develops into an adult. This is all about the life cycle of frog. Is there any doubt here? No, right? You can easily conclude. Okay. Then what is metamorphosis here? Here that is that occurs. Yes. Here this sudden change. What here? The sudden change from the larval stage to the adult stage. Here in final stage of larva, that is froglet phase, here it has a long tail and four limbs, that is two head and two four limbs. But when you observe in the adult frog, there is no tail itself, right? The body structure is well developed with a very well developed hind limbs and balancing forelimbs. This image, this adult is entirely different from that of the froglet phase, right? That is the larval phase. This sudden drastic change from the larval stage to the adult stage in a living organism is called as metamorphosis. So now, can you define what is metamorphosis? Yes, metamorphosis is a biological process that involves sudden, the change occurs suddenly. Means yesterday you saw the froglet phase and today you are seeing the adult one. You never expected such sudden change in a living organism. From a larval stage to the adult stage of the living organisms is called as metamorphosis. Metamorphosis, it is a biological process that involves sudden change from a larval stage to the adult stage of life in a living organisms. So let us see metamorphosis in butterfly. Okay, I think girls mostly love butterfly as it is a colorful organism and we girls are also colorful. Isn't it? Okay, this is the life cycle. And anyone of you explain the life cycle here? I already did with frog, right? Now you should have to tell me the life cycle of butterfly. Yes, observe this slide. Yes. After mating of male and female butterfly is an egg. You usually see when your mom or granny is cleaning some spinach leaves. Why they are cleaning? Because there will be some eggs in it, right? Usually insects and other small insect organisms and microorganisms usually lay their eggs beneath the leaf. Okay, so we need to clean them. So here there are the eggs on the leaves, and when these eggs hatches, it develop into a caterpillar. Okay, these eggs get hatched and the caterpillar is developed. They grow, they feed on leaves. Okay, they feed on leaves and they grow. After they grow up to certain stage, what they do, they cover their body with the shell-like structure. Okay, it will be a protecting shield for them from the surrounding environment. This caterpillar roll itself and it provide a shell-like structure through its mouth, and it will be gelatinous. Later on, it will become hard. Have you observed jelly crystals, right? When it is hot, it will be liquid, but if you leave for some time, it will be crystalline, right? Similar process will occur here. Caterpillar, what does it do? It produces a shell-like structure and cover itself into that shell and undergo the stage called as pupa. What is this pupa? Have you heard of this pupa stage? Here, the pupa is the inactive and immature phase. Okay, here the organism will not feed on anything. It does not show motion, no locomotion, no motion, and no feeding as well. But it grows inside the shell, being in the same place. Okay, inside that protective shield, the organisms grow itself, but it does not show any kind of motion or activity except growth. So pupa is the inactive and immature phase of an organism. Immature because here also it can't be able to reproduce. If we compare the larval stage, larva is the active. There we can see the motion, feeding, everything. Okay, hence it is an active and immature form of an organism. But pupa is a inactive form and immature form of an organism that occur in a which process? Yes, metamorphosis process. Then the protective shield, the protective cover that it forms around its body to protect itself from the environment is called as cocoon. Okay, usually the silk. Very good. In silkworm, the cocoon itself is the silk thread that we obtain from the cocoon of the silkworm. Very good. Yes. We see this pupa stage in silk moth and white moth, etc. Then let us sum up. After mating, female butterfly lays an egg and it hatches into a caterpillar. That is the larval stage of the butterfly. Then it enters into the stage that is pupa, which is inactive and immature stage of the living organisms during metamorphosis. And this sudden change that occurs from the larval stage to the adult stage is called as metamorphosis. And metamorphosis usually seen in the phylum that is amphibians. Amphibians means amphibians are those organisms that amphibians both. They live both in land and water. Okay, and in insect as well. If you consider 10 insects like spider, ant, moth, etc., if you consider 10 of them, in 10 of them, 8 will definitely show metamorphosis. Okay, and when you consider all our organisms, more than 80% of the organisms undergo. So, in today's class, what we have studied, we studied what is metamorphosis, what is larval stage, what is pupa stage, by considering the life cycle of frog and the life cycle of butterfly. Now, let us sum up what is metamorphosis. Yes, metamorphosis is a biological process that occur living organisms. Metamorphosis is a biological process in which there is a sudden change. What happens? There is a sudden change from the larval stage to the adult stage in an organism. Okay, what is larva? Yes, larva is a oh yes, larva is a active and mature form of a living organisms. What is pupa? Yes, pupa is a inactive and immature form of an organisms. What is cocoon? Yes, cocoon is a protective shell that is it is a protective shield-like structure that organisms cover itself while undergoing pupa stage. Okay, then this is all what we studied in our today's class by considering the life cycle of frog and the butterfly. Okay, the life cycle of silk moth and the life cycle of white moth resembles the life cycle of butterfly as well. Okay, so today's your assignments are you must define what is metamorphosis. You should provide a difference between adult, larva, and pupa stage of metamorphosis, and then you must sketch out schematic representation of any insect that should go undergo metamorphosis. You have to sketch the life cycle. Okay, is it clear? Do you have any doubt with today's class? Does human undergo metamorphosis? No, we undergo transition. Okay, yes, the size and structural size of an organism is entirely different. When we compare a small baby, it will be only few pounds, and we are more than 100 pounds, right? We undergo transitions like child, young, adulthood, and old age, right? We undergo transition. There is no drastic change. So humans does not undergo metamorphosis. Is it clear? Okay, very good. I hope today's session went well and have a good day, students. And in tomorrow's class, we will learn something new. Okay.